Peace, prophet people. Shout out to all the kings and queens out there. This is Absolute from the Absolute Boss Collective. And in this video, we're going to talk about what an IPO is, what a DPO is, Robinhood and its upcoming IPO, okay? Coinbase and its upcoming DPO. I'm going to give you guys an update on my $500 giveaway. And I'm also going to introduce my $500 challenge, okay? Most importantly, what I'm going to be discussing in this video is how can the little guy benefit from an IPO or a DPO? Or I should say, how can you take advantage, okay, of an IPO or a DPO, okay? Before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. The Absolute Boss Collective is all about financial freedom and empowerment for Main Street, okay? That's for the regular guy and girl that's out there that's trying to find a way to maximize their earning potential. And I'm here to tell you that investing and trading is one of those ways that you can build that war chest of money, okay? Check out the videos that I got. You know what I'm saying? I got about 45 videos available. Check them out, man. Like the videos. And most importantly, subscribe so you can be aware of what's going on. Okay? And hear and be aware when I drop new content. That's the most important thing. Because I'm going to keep it coming for y'all. Okay? And without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Now, let me let you guys know up front. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not. I did not go to school for that. Okay? I am not certified. However, I have spent a lot of time working in the fields. You know what I'm saying? I worked a 9-to-5 job. I know what that struggle is like. I know what it's like trying to make your ends meet, man. You know what I'm saying? And through my travels, I came across day trading. And that's what's been able to help me. Okay, and I just want to bring that to all of y'all so y'all can learn how to do the same thing, man. If we come together and work collectively together, man, we could be a force. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about here at the Absolute Boss Collective. So without further ado, let's get into an IPO. An IPO is when a private company goes public for the first time. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering. This is a private company that is now opening its business up to partners by way of offering these shares, okay? Private companies use an IPO as an opportunity to obtain capital, okay? They offer the shares to the primary market. Companies hire investment banks to market, gauge demand, set the IPO price and date, and IPOs can also be seen as an exit strategy for the company's founders and early investors, okay? And that's how you can realize your full potential, okay? The average IPO first day pop, okay, is 44%. So that means if we set a listing of $50, we can look at possibly hitting $90 on that first day. So all of you people who are down with that will get that money. That's how you will be able to cash out now. Okay? And I remember there was a time where there's a particular website, it's called renaissancecapital.com. I remember visiting that website religiously, looking for upcoming IPOs. At one time, that was my system. That was my strategy. I traded IPOs. Okay? Now, the newest IPO that's coming out that I'm interested in is Robinhood. Because Robinhood has been a disruptor. Okay? The way that everybody used to do business before, as far as online trading, has changed because of Robinhood. Okay, so they're going to come out with this IPO, and this thing, it has the potential to go crazy. Everybody talks about Robinhood and Robinhood traders. They actually even use that as a derogatory term right now, okay, in some circles. They'll say, oh, that's the Robinhood traders that's making that stock act that way. Okay? So imagine the impact when they hit the scene. Okay? I don't know when that's coming up. We're going to look for that because they just announced, or actually they filed for their IPO on the 22nd of March. Okay? So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. I will make another video that's specifically talking about that. Okay? Now, I want to give you a little backstory. Okay? I told you I used to go to the Renaissance Capital website, and the most interest, there's so many IPOs that I traded during that phase. I can't even really, I didn't even bother to take the time to go through all of them because, you know, some of them I hit on, some I missed on. It was just kind of like a law of averages type of strategy. I looked at all the IPOs that was coming out. I played them. Basically. I won sometimes, I lost sometimes. You know, nothing really too big, nothing really too crazy. The most exciting thing that happened for me was the Facebook IPO. Okay, that was very, 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 very exciting. I did the most prep work for that. I remember buying magazines to research on it and everything and really trying to get prepared for that. So let me give you some stats on that. Okay, Facebook hit the scene Friday, May 18th, 2020. It was the biggest tech IPO and the biggest in internet history with a peak market capitalization of over 104 billion. Okay? It hit the market at $38 a share. It fell significantly and bottomed out at 17.73% on September 4th, 2020. And from September 4th, 2020 to March 24th, 2021, that's when I did this homework, there has been a return because it bottomed out at $17.73. So it went from $17.72 all the way up to $281.52 for a return of 1,487.91% as of the date of this homework, which was the 24th of March. It's higher than that now because we kind of rallied in the preceding weeks after I did this homework. Now, some key lessons I learned from my whole IPO phase. Number one, most IPOs, okay, you will get burnt on them. Just for the simple fact of there are people inside or insiders or accredited investors. An accredited investor is someone who, you know, makes at least it has a net worth of in the millions. I believe it's 1 or 2 million, or they have to have income over 6 figures for 2 years. Then you become an accredited investor. So if you see that video that I did called Acts As If, and I'm talking about the movie Boiler Room, and we know the character in that film was cold calling people. In order for you to be cold called, you have to be an accredited investor. They can't call up the regular person and say, hey, I got a stock idea for you. Because according to regulations and rules that are set out there, if you're not accredited, you cannot afford the risk that comes with different stock offerings. And they feel that an accredited investor can. Okay? So, that being said, a lot of these investment banks, okay, they go to their clients, accredited investors, and they offer them these stocks when they're in the private market. Okay? So they'll get the Facebooks, the Twitters, all of these new upsetter companies that are coming out eventually. They'll get in early. So they may get into the stock, like I said, Facebook hit the market at $38. They might have got in Facebook at $8. They might have got in Facebook even if it was just half of that. Okay, so by the time it hits the retail investors, which is when the initial public offering takes place, and they are able to, offer it to the public. That's when the public can get in. But then you have so many other people that got in early that can just cash out at that point, because now the companies that's introducing these IPOs, they go on road shows and all of this stuff to promote this thing. Okay, so the hype is at an all-time high by the time that thing hits the market. So there's a lot of people who want in, and they will buy in at any price. Okay, now if I got in a stock at $10 or $15, and I'm sitting on a nice portion, 100 shares, 500 shares, 1,000 shares, okay, and this thing pops 100%, 200%, 300% from where I got in, you don't think I'm selling? I'm telling you right now, I'm selling. I'm selling. And there's many people that will sell. So when retail is rushing in to buy, boom, the price is coming down, because you got big dogs that's sitting on hundreds of thousands of shares. They're going to dump it. Now, sometimes these IPOs have what's called a lockup period, which means for a certain amount of time, even if you are an early investor, you may not be able to sell for 6 months, 9 months, or something like that. And that kind of keeps the price in somewhat of a stable position. Okay. So IPOs do have their risk. Okay. And you need to be aware of that. But they're also a great opportunity. Okay. Because if you just, specifically with the Facebook situation for me, I jumped in. Now, I had some track record of trading IPOs. And basically what I would do is when the IPO was announced and they rung the bell and it was available, I bought. Sometimes I waited a couple of minutes. Sometimes I waited a few hours, and I sold and took my profit. Okay? If the price was highly volatile, which means it was going up and down, I was able to go in and out. So I was able to go in and out with some of them. So when I was in Facebook, and in Facebook time, when Facebook came out, they decided to go on the NASDAQ. And I believe it was because of the volume. It was probably the biggest clusterfuck in trading history. Because of the sheer volume going into the NASDAQ, with Facebook, there were so many servers that went down, systems crashed, people couldn't get in and out of the stock. It was really, really ugly. Okay, and you guys can look that up. And I didn't get that initial pop. I think I traded it, once or twice successfully, and then maybe like the third time I went in, I got burnt. Burnt meaning the price went against me. And rather than riding it out, and I'm talking about in the 20s, this is something like in the 20s. I got in somewhere in 20s area, okay? And I just didn't ride it out. I just figured, hey, this is not working out. Cut my losses and moved on. And, pulling up the stats now and looking at it, it's like, damn, I could have just held it and made a killing. Like, Facebook has been a beast. They make most of their money from advertising. Okay? And they when they have their earnings, okay? Earnings season starts this week, by the way. When they announce their earnings, most of the time they blow them out by crazy margins, man. Facebook is a king when it comes to making that ad revenue. You know what I'm saying? So in hindsight, I look at it like, damn, I totally fumbled that. Okay? Something, maybe that was something not to be so focused on trading. That was something that I could have just held. You know what I'm saying? And, if you think about back that time, 2012 to now, even just selling covered calls on it would have been crazy. Okay? But you guys need to be careful with IPOs. The other thing, I mean, I don't regret what happened because it was a learning experience. And now I'm able to come tell you guys so you guys can avoid that type of situation. Now, I also wanted to touch on Renaissance Capital because Renaissance Capital, you know, I just used to go and check out the IPOs there and trade them. And now it's gotten to the point that they actually have an ETF, which its ticker symbol is IPO. Okay? So you can invest in that. Okay? Let them do the due diligence. You just buy that IPO. Okay? And you could make money with that. Now, initially when I found out they had an IPO, which was maybe around the time that I was doing my homework on Facebook, I didn't even look at it. You know, I was like, wow, you know, they got an IPO. That's interesting. So today I decided to look at it and see what the performance was. So over the last year, from April 9th, 2020 to April 9th, 2021, that IPO is up 135.24%. Okay, so it has been working very, very well. Over the last 3 years is up 180.36%. So they clearly know what they're doing because the price is appreciating. So the IPOs that they're selecting for that ETF, it's working out. It's working out for them. The price is appreciating. Since the price is appreciating, that means people is buying it. Buying it or trading it or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the criteria is for them and selecting what they put in that IPO. And that's something that, you know, I'll look into. I suggest that you guys look into it also, okay, before putting your money into anything. But we're going to touch more on that when we get into how the little guy could benefit. Now, the most juicy part of the video, Coinbase. Coinbase is coming out with what's called a DPO this Wednesday, the 14th. Okay? Now, Coinbase is the most popular cryptocurrency trading platform. Okay? I first started messing with cryptocurrency in the tail end of 2016. Okay? And I was a little apprehensive about it, but I kept hearing about it. And there was somebody I know that was really heavily into crypto. And every time that I would meet up with this person, we would go back and forth talking about it. Now, being new to cryptocurrency, I was able to trade it relatively easily. One of the things that I really liked about the cryptocurrency market is it was 24/7. So I was able to navigate that relatively easily. And it was pretty easy for me to go from trading primarily stocks to just jumping into this thing and trading it. And that was really, really cool. What I didn't like is when the price went against me, I had no fundamentals to stand on. And all the news, not all the news, but a lot of the news that was coming out at that time was very, very negative. It's not like now. Like, you know, I remember the CBOE, Chicago Board of Exchange. So the CBOE now has them listed. You know what I'm saying? You can trade futures on Bitcoin. You couldn't do that in 2016. You have JP Morgan, and a lot of other financial institutions that have Bitcoin on their books. We know about Tesla and Elon Musk and all of his movement. You have PayPal is now allowing payments with Bitcoin. We didn't have all of that in 2016. So 2017. So a lot of times, a lot of the news that came out and I heard about other companies trying to ban it and people's accounts being seized or hacked and stolen and all of that kind of stuff, really made me uncomfortable in a sense that I'm putting my money in a brokerage. I was using Binance. I was using Coinbase and Binance. So Coinbase was good for the top cryptocurrencies. I was able to trade Bitcoin on that, Ethereum, and there was one other that I was able to trade on there. And then Binance, there was so many other coins out there. I was able to trade those coins through that, and that's some of the smaller priced coins, which was easier to trade in volume and size. So that was all cool. And I loved that part. The parts I didn't like was I could not, it didn't easily translate my trades into US dollar. So I always had to do math to figure that out. I was concerned about my account or the brokerage that I was using being shut down and my money being stuck somewhere in limbo. And I just really had no fundamentals, whereas now if I trade Apple and Apple goes against me, I could say, well, Apple has a new phone coming out that's going to cause the price to rise again. Or the holiday season is coming. People going to buy phones and watches. That's going to cause the price to rise. And plus, I had history that I can go back and look at and use that. I didn't have that with Bitcoin. So eventually, I left it all alone. Just took my money and ran and said, let me focus on what I do. Okay? So now, Bitcoin, this whole Coinbase thing is really going to legitimize this industry, okay? Along with everything else that's been happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very, very excited about it. It's a direct public offering. So the difference with a DPO is a DPO bypasses the usual IPO process. Okay, this is a very expensive, costly, and time-consuming process for a company to go from private to public. Okay, it's a lot of legwork that's involved with that. Where a direct public offering, it saves on the underwriter fee. So these investment banks that you would have to get with and all that, they ain't got to do that. They go on a direct listing through NASDAQ. They can avoid the restrictions of lockup periods and all of that kind of stuff. So, people who are holding, they can sell. It's no big deal. And that's what's really, really exciting about it. I believe the price is going to be somewhere over the 300, like somewhere around 300, 400 or something like that. Even if they say 300, 350, when it hits the market, it's going to shoot up because the demand is going to be crazy. Again, Coinbase is the world's most popular cryptocurrency trading platform. And I remember in my experience, the reason why I would put the majority of my money in Coinbase, because Coinbase is a US company. Whereas a lot of the other ones that were out at that time weren't US based. There was only like 3, Coinbase and 2 others. And the rest were like, in China and all of that kind of stuff. And I just really wasn't comfortable having thousands of dollars somewhere where, it could get shut down and I have no access to get my money and I call and I don't get no answer. You know what I'm saying? That's different now. It's so funny how much has changed in, 4 or 5 years. A lot has changed. So this is very, very, very exciting. Okay. And you all need to be aware that this is going down this week, Wednesday, baby. Okay. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. How does the little guy benefit from this? What can you do? Okay. Well, do you still have some of that stimulus money? If you have some of that stimulus money, you may be able to buy yourself a share of Coinbase. Okay? Well, that may not be the most soundest decision because then you would let's say you got $500 left. All right? You're going to put the whole $500 in Coinbase? What if it tanks? What if it tanks for a few months? So that's not a sound decision. What you can do, which would be a little bit more prudent, would be to invest in a number of different things that may be related to this. So let's go and just so you guys know, down below I have a link for Robinhood. Okay, you sign up with Robinhood. Okay, I get some free stocks. You get some free stocks. Okay, and the reason why I talk about Robinhood is because one of the things I like about them that's very revolutionary is you can trade fractional shares. Okay? So with you trading these fractional shares, you're able to get in on a lot of different things at a lower cost basis. You can spend that $500 over 10 different issues. You could put $50 in the Coinbase, see what happens. If the price goes down, then you could dollar cost average in. You know what I'm saying? Maybe put in $5 a day or something like that. Okay? So what are some of the other things you can do besides just buying Coinbase directly? Coinbase is going to be listed on the NASDAQ. Okay? So the NASDAQ, ticker symbol QQQ, can be traded as well. Now, if you trade options, if you're familiar with trading options, or if you want to learn how to trade options, leave that in the comments below. Leave your questions in the comments below so I can speak more directly to you. But anyway, there's other things that you can play. You can play financial crypto stocks, right? Because even though it's Coinbase is going public, there's something that's called sympathy plays. And sometimes people are not able to get in or to get in with size on the thing that is hot. So they'll go to the next best thing in the industry. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say, oftentimes they'll compare Nike to Under Armour. Okay, they're in the same industry. So if something goes on with that, something crazy, government's coming out with stimulus and they're giving all the brothers in the hood a pair of sneakers, either from Nike or Under Armour. That's going to make the price shoot up. Okay, so some people will get Nike, some people will get a sympathy play like Under Armour or Adidas. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Lululemon. You know what I'm saying? Skechers. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll see the main stock is moving, but you'll see these other stocks in that same industry moving as well. It's called a sympathy play. So there are some other tickers out there that are associated with crypto. Okay. The ones that I rock with that have made me money. Okay. This is very important. These are the cream of the crop here. It's Riot, RIOT, and Mara, MARA. You got some others out there that they are active, but for the most part, they're lower cost, they're penny stocks. Okay, but they're in that sector. You got BPKCF, HVBTF, BTLLF, HVTMF, BTCS, UBIA, VBIX, MGTI. Then you'll have software. There's certain software, and specifically the financial sector of the software industry. You have certain tickers there like SQ and PayPal, PYPL, that are accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment. Okay, so these are some of the things that you might be able to set up in your Robinhood account and buy fractional shares. Okay, most importantly, you need to be aware when these type of things come out so that you can take advantage of them. Again, set up a watch list for yourself and do your due diligence, read articles, read research, study the industry, compare the stock that you like with something in the same industry. See who's doing better. See how the industry is performing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of due diligence that you have to do or consider when you're trying to do some kind of investments. Okay? But I'm here to tell you, you can get in. You can get in and you can play your part, man. Don't let nobody steer you wrong, man. So we got places like Robinhood where you can buy fractional shares, man. Take advantage of it and get in the game. Okay? I encourage you to go look it up and look up the stats, man. It's out there. You can make money off of it. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. And don't just blindly buy something just because it's an IPO and just because they're hyping it. You know, sometimes sit back, do the knowledge, see how it performs first. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. Because many people who jumped into Facebook right away the first day it came out, they didn't make money because it went down eventually. It took a while before it went on its trajectory. A few months. What, 4 months? It went down for 4 months. Okay? And then it took off and went to the moon, as they say in these trading circles. Okay? So do your homework, but just be aware of what's coming out, man. If you are very ultra conservative and you don't want to pick and choose or don't have the time to pick and choose, you got that Renaissance Capital ETF IPO. Let them do the work. Okay, put that in your Robinhood account and just let it rock that way. Last but not least, let's get into the $500 contest. I have a $500 contest that I'm out running now. When this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, somebody's going to get $500. Simple as that. Now, that ties into my $500 challenge. In a couple of my monthly recap videos, I touched on trades that I did for $500 or less. More transparent with that and give you guys some direct videos with that title, or somewhere in the title, it'll say $500 challenge, to show you how I took $500 or less and what I made on that, a percentage wise and a dollar wise. Okay? And this is the reason why I selected $500. I've seen a lot of people say, you know, that's too much money to be given away. Some people are apprehensive. They think it's a scam or something like that. Listen, okay, I'm paying it forward. Okay. In my opinion, I think $500 is a good enough amount with the right trading strategy, okay, where you can make a decent second stream of income. You may not be able to quit your job on that, but you might be able to make enough, you know, $50 every day or $50 every other day, okay, which is 10% on 500, and that's not unlikely. I've had trades where I made 80% on that trade, okay, so 10% is not crazy, okay. If you get to the point where you can make $50 a day, that's $250 a week, that's $1,000 a month. That's something decent. You could put a decent dent in whatever your monthly expenses are. Keep an eye out for those videos. If you guys have questions or suggestions about different stocks and you want to see how that will work with the $500 challenge, leave that in the comments below. If you have questions about IPOs, DPOs, anything else, leave that in the comments below, okay? This is your brother Absolute signing off for the Absolute Boss Collective, your brother in trading and investing. Peace.